All right, welcome back to the show, the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and Mike Lubie Lubitz. And a pleasure to welcome this gentleman to the program. We had the pleasure of speaking with him a couple of times on Super Bowl Radio Rose, where he was usually pumping up a very, very significant MMA battle in the UFC. He was a superstar there, just recently retired. We welcome to the program Miami's own, as he's known, Jorge Masvidal. Jorge, how are you?
Good, my brother. How you doing?
Doing all right. This is like a James Corden thing. You're doing a little carpool karaoke here. Right? Where are you off to?
Right now, to get on set real quick, working on some choreographic stuff for some films coming up, and then off to the gym. You know, keep the
Very
body
nice.
fit, keep the mind strong.
All right. Just recently announced your retirement. Fighters do this many times. Is this? I mean, is this permanent? Is that it? Are you hanging up the gloves and going on just to new ventures?
Yes, sir. I've been at it 20 years professionally. Um, and I started roughly around 12, 13 years old. So I got a good amount of time competing and absorbing the sport, and I'll still always be practicing, doing some extent of the sport myself. But as far as competing at the highest of levels, yeah, I'm done for now.
How would you characterize the whole thing? I mean, you made it to the very top. Obviously, you're one of the biggest draws in the UFC, and anytime you were fighting, it wasn't like people weren't going to take sides. I mean, they were, wildly with you for the most part. And you go all the way back to the Kimbo Slice stuff, right? Backyard fighting here in Miami.
Yes, sir. Started with the bare knuckle in the backyard, in Kimball Slice's backyard. So shout out to him always. You know, man, it's like full circle. That's how I started out in the city of Miami. Now I'm coming back to Florida with the first ever sanctioned MMA bout in history. So it's an amazing feeling. Those doors got opened up for me by Icy Mike. Shout out to Icy Mike, always Kimbo Slice's manager and Kimbo Slice, allowing me to come in their platform, their backyard, and fight and compete and get to show my skills off to the world. So now it's kind of like I get to do it for all these individuals that are fighting for the promotion. Come put your skills on the line in my platform and go get what's yours.
What was tougher, the street fighting or actually being involved in the UFC?
They're different, it's different speeds, different angles. Um, the street fighting has different elements that, the UFC doesn't have. In the UFC, we have doctors, nurses, they're on standby,
Yeah.
referees, all these other things. It's just a different ball game. The street stuff, you could get like seriously hurt. So I take that into consideration, and just that alone, it's very different. It's not the same at all.
And it was a fight to the finish, wasn't it? I mean, there was no time clock involved in this sort of thing.
Yeah, you on the ones that I did in particular, there was no time limit. Just go to somebody quits.
Yeah,
Sometimes they did have some time limits, but for the most part, yeah, you just go to somebody quits.
yeah. Well, I mean, you did well at both, obviously, and a brilliant career. We congratulate you on that. All right. Tell us how you got started with this new thing. And you're not starting out small here, R.A. And we would expect no less of you. You're going right into the Florida Live Arena in Sunrise with your very first event, the Game Bred Bare Knuckle MMA. Cinco de Mayo on top of that. So, in
Big
conjunction with a
fight
big
day.
celebration.
Big fight day.
Oscar De La Hoya, I would imagine, wanted to be
Yeah.
on this card. He was always fighting Cinco de Mayo. Tell us about this and what the fans can expect.
Well, like I was saying earlier, it's the first sanctioned MMA bout in Florida. Very historic. It's all the MMA rules that we all know and love, just minus the gloves. So the finish rate increases dramatically, for both submissions because they're easier to lock in, as far as the knockout as well.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it sounds crazy.
Yes, sir. And you also got to be a little bit more precise with your shots, right? Because if you hit like in the harder parts of the head, you're more liable for your hand to break. So you got to be a little bit of a sharpshooter. Not that you still can't throw haymakers, but if you hit the guy in the top of the head and stuff, there's a good chance you could break a bone or tear a ligament. And on the main event, we got some guys that throw bombs. We got Dylan Kleckler, which is 10-0 as an amateur with 10 knockouts, 11-1 as a professional with 10 knockouts, fighting Big Roy Nelson from the UFC. He has 23 fights with 19 stoppages, and 16 of those stoppages coming by way of knockout.
Wow.
This fight's gonna be epic. This fight people are gonna remember for a while. It's just, and also the guys that get involved in this have like a different mindset. The guys that are willing to fight bare knuckle, and it usually just makes for great fights because that mindset mixed with another guy that thinks like that, they just end up always getting after it. Man, I can't wait. I think it's gonna be our best show that we've ever put forward together, and I'm excited, man. I want the whole Florida to come out there.
Where are you getting the most of the competitors from? I mean, there has been some bare knuckle stuff going around, and a few events have taken place here in South Florida. You mentioned, you have guys coming from the UFC that are getting involved in this. I mean, were most UFC guys inclined to think, hey, let's get real here. Let's drop the gloves and fight it out bare knuckle. What are where are the sources coming from in terms of competitors for this?
We get on the market, on the free market agency, and start looking up everybody that's a free agent and get the top talent versus the top talent. Usually, they come from all over the country, though, geographically, all over the world, really. There's guys from California, Las Vegas, Louisiana, Texas, Biloxi, Mississippi. We got we got all sorts of different movie stars.
Oh yeah, get out of here.
Sure.
Mickey Rourke going to make an appearance? Is that what you're saying?
Something I think so, man. I'm not sure. I got to read that email.
Talking to Jorge Masvidal. All right, so that's coming up on May the 5th. Going
Yes,
to be
sir.
conducted
Cinco de
on
Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, and that's Florida Live. Where can people get tickets? The usual sources.
Ticketmaster. Go right now. Ticketmaster, please.
All right, and you're only going to be involved as a promoter. No temptation to sneak in there, on the undercard somewhere.
I would, that's a great question. I'm always gonna have those. Oh, somebody didn't make weight, and we need somebody last minute. That's always gonna be like, you know, a thing that I'm gonna want to do, but I'm not gonna do it this time. This time, I'm not promising on the next. I don't know.
That would scare that guy that was making his pro debut that was coming out of,
What the hell?
Kansas City, somewhere in the Midwest. Oh, yeah, you're going against Masvidal tonight. Which one? There's another one? No, Jorge, man. He's coming back and fighting. Well, we wish you the best of luck with this, Jorge. It's always a pleasure. I did want to ask you about this. I don't know. Are you a basketball fan?
I watched a little bit.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, there's a big issue right now with trash talking going on in the NBA with this guy named Dylan Brooks. I don't know if you've seen him. He's big on social media and everything, but and he's trash talking LeBron. And we were thinking, I don't know that there was anybody better at this in setting up a fight than you, Jorge Masvidal. What is it? What is the essential? Essence of the art of trash talking to the point where you actually get inside a guy's head.
That's the whole trick is just finding out how to get their head with maximum efficiency. You putting in as little bit as emotion and time into that, and getting the max response out of that other individual, wherever that may be. Whatever subject gets them to jump, whatever actions get them to move. Um, it's just like a case study. You got to just check somebody out, see what they like to do, what they don't like to do, what politics you're into, all that stuff, and then you just start throwing them darts until you find you know what sticks to the wall, and then you keep just hammering them away, just make their life hard. But I think trash talking is essential in combat sports, in all sports this period. Just when it's like involving kids, wives, or things like that, then
Yeah.
I get like a little bit like, that's just corny. You shouldn't be attacking kids or like wives and stuff like that. You should leave out of it. If it's between two men or two ladies on the field, it should be that, like the two individuals. family members and things like that. But I think trash talking is essential at the end of the day, especially in sports.
All right, so there were some boundaries to it, at least in your approach, because once the
Definitely
family
just,
comes up, that usually
yeah. I
triggers
mean,
a war.
you know, women and children, I think is pretty like standard. Like you just,
Yeah.
you shouldn't. But some people are so fucking corny, so they can't do nothing. They can't make up no material and be original, and they gotta just say your mama jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Don't come up with anything, as you say, innovative. Well, Jorge, you were always great in that regard. We wish you the best of luck with this promotion. Anything we can do to help, we're happy to do so. Glad you came on. It's always good to talk to you here, and always a lot of fun. And Cinco de Mayo, we'll look forward to it. MMA, bare
Sure,
knuckle. Wow, it's going to
sir,
be
yes,
great.
sir. I got your tickets ringside, so bring your umbrella. Them bloody guys.
Will do. Yeah, yeah. Make sure you have extra cut man on call there for the promotion. You're going to need Stitch Duran hanging around ringside. Thanks so much, Jorge. Always
Thank
a
you
pleasure.
guys.
Thanks for being with us.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it. All right, that was maybe a prelude to our Mike Mayo thing that we want to do, dining while driving.
It was actually pretty impressive. I don't know how safe it was, but he was actually driving. And
Didn't he have like an actual microphone there too in the car?
when they do dining while driving, that's your thing. When they do the singing and driving thing, they're not looking in the camera.
Carpool karaoke. Yes.
The carpool karaoke, the camera's there, but they try to focus on the driving. He was focusing on the camera.
Yes. And then there were other guys in the car, man. Who are those guys?
Handing him stuff. It's like, yo.
Hey, man.
That was classic.
The second mount just fell out. Guy says you can't make weight.
His train of thought. I think he's driving around South Florida. Like, to be able to drive around South Florida and be able to focus on something else and not do anything illegal. It's pretty
He's on
impressive.
like 836 on his way to the gym.
He's on the Palmetto.